what happens.
Right.
For screen sharing, is there anything that I got to do to make audio come through?
No, I think Discord works good with your mic.
Okay, I'm first. I wrote my inclusive welcome, so it's so I really wrote it for today, so I'm excited to read it. All right, a very warm welcome, everyone, to the 7th session of the Graviton practice group. A warm welcome to every side of you that you want to show, whether this side is tired, annoyed, frustrated, passionate, harmonious, compassionate, or focused on yourself. Sides that are healing or struggling, judging or accepting, observing or creating aversions. We especially welcome today all opinions, whatever they are. Opinions of all kinds, hiding in values, patterns, and beliefs you are not aware of. And also opinions that are very clear to you, positions that you take to create an identity, opinions that you share and manifest, and opinions that you don't share. Welcome to opinions that feel logical and well balanced and rational. You know, those evidence based opinions based on research. And also a very warm welcome to opinions that feel irrational, subjective, more instinctive, coming from a deeper root of knowing, of just knowing, using other sources of information than that what we value in our society. And welcome to all ways that are present here in this group of dealing with opinions and perspectives. We invite you to today's sessions, a session with an open and closed, and with as open as in a closed mind, as you choose to be. You can be open today and closed, whatever you want to be, but with an open attitude towards learning about yourself and this group, taking the challenge to take a deep dive under the waterline with us and make your feet wet. We're going to go on a bit of a ride today. Well, that's what we're going to try. And with that, I think I pass to Jeremy.
All right. So do this thing.
Yeah, the audio is not going, sorry.
Oh no.
Is Moloch playing? Hmm. Can we try another way, or?
Are you listening into your into your ear things? I
Yep.
think
I hear it
maybe
in my headphones.
yeah.
Part of me, I will share the link in the Discord. Who's it? But I think that might speak even without the audio.
Yeah, we all saw that.
Where is it? I need to watch it again, though. Just a second.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? And his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord.
Would you mind sharing, Lynn?
Sorry?
Would you mind sharing the video since we're hearing
Oh,
it
I
from?
tried. Ah, yeah, you can hear it, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep.
That was a nice one.
Yeah, but there is something off with my. Do I have the rights to share here? Something? Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has the access, but I can help too.
Okay.
I will try.
Smack the shit out of
I should switch this off, right? Oh my god.
Wow. It was a G.I. Jane.
Yeah, I will share my screen right now.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay.
Jesus.
Wow.
Indeed. So we preface that in order to offer us a little bit of an inroad into today's exercise that we want to get down on. And just to reinforce this idea of role fluidity and identity, and that is this notion that what is in you is in me, and what is in me is in the group, and that we don't see the world the way it is, we see the world the way you are. So we're going to play with that tonight, right, Lane?
Yes, we are. And I don't know, do you all have the Google Doc in front of you? Is it possible?
Is the link in
Because-
Gravity?
Yeah, I'll do that quickly. As a starter question. Oh, gee, I'm so struggling with my screens tonight. It's horrible. Wait,
There's
oh no, that's in the
lots of
other one.
I already
Oh, you
shared
have,
it.
yeah, it takes me forever. Sorry, I'm totally confused. So there is on slides. What's the number? 100. Slide 100. Like there's this tool which maybe I can zoom out a tiny bit before I let you dive into the exercise, where you can very quickly see where the group is, right, on something. And we've experienced the spectrum line where you just have a polarity, like yes or no. And we added a little extra to it with a line like this. So in this situation, right, the situation where, somebody makes a joke or insults somebody that is dear to you, and the reaction is you hit, right? You put yourself into the position. Do you think that that is accepted violence in this situation? Then you go to the left side. If you think it is non-accepted violence to react in a way like that when somebody close to you is insulted, you go to the left. Oh no, right. Non-accepted, a left and right. There we go again. Then if you think like, yeah, it is accepted violence, but I would never do it, then you go down. And if you say like, it's accepted violence, and yes, actually, to be honest, I would react like that as well, then you go to the top. So you take your positions. Jeremy, what do we do? Do we also go in?
Yep.
Okay. Jesus, I should have thought of this before, right?
Got stars here. Make a copy of this one at the top and place it where you find yourself.
Yeah. Oh. Do we add names to it?
I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
We've got a spread for the group.
Yeah, we're only 5 people. That's cool. That's cool. But there's 6 stars and we're only 5.
Oh yeah, that one in the middle. I'll delete
yeah, we have one cat joining somewhere. Okay. All right. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. We can have a really a conversation. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have those sides talk to each other, right? And the technique or the tool that we're going to use today is very similar to what we used yesterday. I think we were all there, right? In the Let's Talk. Remember in the Let's Talk where in mini groups you actually say what needs to be said and then the other person goes. Today we take that exercise to a next level. There's also a plenary version for that. And the plenary version of a Let's Talk we call to throw arrows. And the basic of to throw arrows is that you all step into one side. And in this case, it is like, yes, to, if somebody in your environment is dear to you and gets insulted, it is accepted to use violence to react to that. And the other side is no, it is absolutely not accepted, right? So we're going to have those 2 sides talk to each other, but in a very uncensored way. So I'm really inviting you to go quite deep. The invitation for this exercise is really to go in the role of the other side as well. So it's really a role switching exercise. When we do this exercise, we first take one position. We start throwing arrows, as they say, very sharp. We start throwing arrows to the other side. I'll give an example to make it clear. We first pick one side, and when everything is said, we switch to the other side, and we put ourselves into the other position, and we throw arrows again. We go as long until we have said everything that needs to be said. It's very important that we are discussing roles here. We are not attacking people. It's very important that we attack in this situation the person that accepts violence and the person that doesn't accept, or the role that doesn't accept violence. That's what we are looking for in ourselves. This is really an exercise to mine conflict, to use that no voice. And there is it's nice. We already see there is not a consensus on how to react in these situations. So it's really a dive under the waterline. We're going to eliminate censorship and we're going to create a safe space to do that. So we're going to see where this brings us. The exercise, well, we'll see. We're going to reflect on it in the end. So what are we going to do? The first thing we always do is set the safe space rules. We're going to do that together before we start doing the game. Then we throw all the arrows from one side. We agree on switching. We go to the other side. We repeat this until everything that needs to be said is done. Sometimes we have to go to the side again. Then we take a little breath because we have listened to all the arrows, and there's gonna be at least one that's like, "Ow, damn it! Oh wow, that touched me in the heart, or that triggered something in me, or I got angry with that one, or it caused a little bit of edgy behavior in us, like it touched you in a way." I'm gonna reflect on that, and then maybe see how we can act on that, or what we want to do with that new insight about ourselves. Okay. Is there a question before I maybe give an example? Is it clear what we're going to do? Yeah, I'm gonna play the game with you, so that hopefully I'm awake enough to spice it up a little bit. So I suggest that we step into this is accepted violence, right? When somebody in your neighborhood, like in your environment, gets insulted, a family member, a partner, a kid in your, that is very close to you, somebody insults that person, then it is actually accepted to hit, to use violence, to react to that. That is your position. What we're going to do is we're going to throw an arrow to the other side, right? And I'm going to start, so you listen in, like, accept. I'm going to throw an arrow now to the side that does not accept violence. Like, my God, you are so passive. Like, you never react to something. You allow bad stuff to happen to your dear ones all the time. Like, what the fuck, Really passive. I need to pick up the game a little bit still, but all right. Who wants to go next? So throw an arrow to the the people that are passive.
If you don't stand for something for the people that you care for, you're weak, and the world will trample you. Anybody else?
Yeah, if you let others impose and insult you, like you are not never going to see your reality. You're always seeing the reality of others.
Do you have no pride? Are are you not? Do you have no boundary? Do you have no spine? Anybody else?
In the Will Smith case, you could say, like, are you not man enough to stand up to your wife or partner?
Are you going to keep watching how they abuse you?
The world will take advantage of you and those you care about.
Um, you are cold-hearted. Cold-hearted.
You really think they're gonna understand that insulting somebody is not okay by just standing there and listen and watch? Is that how you bring a lesson?
You think that shit's funny? You think that's cool? You're a coward and you're afraid.
Is that taking responsibility? Gee,
Is that the way you want to live?
people just blow you away.
Is that the way? Would you let people treat your daughter that way?
Yeah, is that what your daughter deserve?
How is anybody ever gonna feel safe with you?
Are you gonna let him do that?
How are your kids going to defend themselves if they look at you and you cannot even defend yourself or the little ones?
Well, how do you actually protect the ones close to you?
Are you that selfish that you wouldn't risk yourself to defend your family?
Yeah, you don't even want to put your reputation at stake.
You don't care.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're
Um,
weak.
you
You're
are
weak.
letting others to take advantage of yourself.
You are valued. You value more. I don't know how to express it, but like you are more valued than that.
You're just pretending that it doesn't matter. You're lying to yourself.
Just keeping it for yourself will generate more and more frustration.
Yeah, it's gonna eat you alive. When she looks at you and realizes that you let her down, it'll tear your relationship apart.
Is that what they call a man? Ay, ay.
Yeah. What use are you if you have no boundary? There's no out of bounds. What does your inbounds worth?
What is the line you would stand up for yourself and your family?
How long it will take you to react to that?
All right. Anything else we want to yell to this weak person? Then maybe we can switch sides slowly. I realized that I forgot to say to speak out loud the safety rules. Mm. I'll just quickly repeat them. It's my deep democracy teacher that that will be very angry with me now. There is no monopoly on the truth. Everything is perspective. We do this because we want to learn something about ourselves, to research our opinions, to research what we think. And we do this because we want to stay connected. We want to dive deep into each other to learn more about the potential of this group and who is here in this group. when we do these kinds of exercise. Especially with throwing arrows, it's very important to take nothing personal and yet everything personal. So, right. Let's switch sides. Non-accepted violence. We have a very equanimous person now who looks at a guy that hits whatever happens, uses violence whatever happens. What do you want to yell? From non-violent to violent side.
That's not the solution. Go ahead, Juan.
You hit Chris Rock because it wasn't The Rock, and you only hit those who you think that are less strong than you.
Violence is not always going to save you.
You're walking a road of escalation that leads to war and destruction.
You're going to get so used to violence that you are even going to apply it in your house.
You know how many people is going to hit other people because of looking at what you did?
You think you're strong, but you're weak. You cannot even control your emotions.
You're sending a message that violence in response to jokes is okay.
You're escalating beyond the scope of what, and creating a situation that's more unsafe than what you are trying to intervene. You're undermining your own objectives of security.
You're showing that if you have status or fame, you can violate norms.
This path of hatred will never end.
I will also say on Jeremy's line, like, if your objective was for that moment to not last forever, you did the whole contrary, and you build a meme around something that you didn't want it to make to have so much attention, but your actions made it have more attention.
You act to this animal instinct. Haven't you done any inner work? Haven't you really thought about yourself? Become a little bit more equanimous.
This was also something that I saw from Instagram, so I will like repeat it, but I am not so much agree with this, but I will repeat it. Um, you are um, um, undermining the capacity of a woman to defend themselves.
It's just another form of chauvinism and oppression.
Does your wife even feel safer because of that? Did it fix your wife's feelings?
one wins in a fight.
In the end, you improved nothing. You only made the situation worse.
What if he had hit you back? You don't think long term. You just instinctively react to some emotion that comes up without thinking of the consequences.
What are you, like 5? Keep your hands to yourself, young man.
Bad publicity is also good publicity, and now Chris Rock is way more famous than what it was before.
Is your ego so fragile?
What are you going to do the next time you have this problem and in the other side there was someone stronger than you?
You gonna show her she's safe by you getting your ass kicked?
What an example is this for people, for your kids? That you can hit somebody like that in public. Macho.
You've shown everyone how insecure you are.
Yeah, you ask all the time for reassurance in how manly you are by showing your strength and your power. What an old school way of thinking about being a man.
You think that's what she needed in that moment? You think that helped her feel better?
Would you have done that if you weren't nominated?
How much do you want to be in the middle of the attention? Seriously.
You've ruined a night that was supposed to be like a celebration, and your award is now like people are gonna remember that more than the award, and yeah.
You've placed all of your hard work in jeopardy by one moment of impulsiveness. Can you honestly tell me you've never made a joke at no one else's expense?
If you don't like a joke, sometimes it's enough just looking the person to the eyes and show like you didn't like it.
Taken arms and injured someone who meant you no harm.
If you justify punching someone for a joke, then would you justify if the other person stabs the person um, as a response of the hit?
Yeah. Would you take the hit from a person close to the person that you just hit? Is that also accepted? Would you accept that? All right, maybe we can go one time to switch one more time from the accepted violence to the non-accepted. So go back to the violent. Maybe we want to throw something now to the passive and switch one more time. Switch roles.
They were using you to be they wanted to use you to be the laughing stock.
You need to show them like you are not afraid of them.
Now, their carelessness must have a cost.
There is no bigger relief than just throwing it out sometimes. And if that's a hit, that's a hit. How do you actually process your feelings? A good old fight. That solves the problem. It's out and over. You're a hypocrite.
An imperfect action now is better than the perfect action someday.
Not doing anything is just as insulting to your wife.
One other switch? Or is there something coming? All right, let's switch maybe one more time to the non-accepted side. Anything we want to yell to the violent one?
The path you're walking leads to murder and death and destruction.
Violence is never the answer.
Order, respect, and peace are hard fought and easily lost.
It's okay to show like you didn't like the joke, but there is better ways.
What is it that's underneath your anger? What are you afraid of?
You should have just thrown an arrow and not hit the words.
Are you that insecure in your relationship?
Let her fight her own battles.
This is what men always do, get in front of their women, trying to save them.
Do you think so little of her? You're a fool. And a hothead, and that shit's gonna come back to bite you in the ass.
Karma's gonna get you.
I'm disappointed in you. I thought you were better than that.
All right, maybe we can, if we agree, maybe we can stop here. What we did, we researched both sides. We wanted to do breakout groups, but maybe we can stay here because it's just the 5 of us, right? Yeah, if you want to, what touched you in the arrows that were being thrown? What touched you? What was like, oh, damn it, yeah. What triggered you, frustrated you, annoyed you? If you experience that, if something annoyed you or triggered you or puzzled you, we call that an edge. And that's something that you have to look closer to. It's an insight you probably have waiting for you about yourself or about, something. So, yeah, if you feel like sharing, if there's anything that touched you.
My initial stance on the situation was more into the acceptation side, and after the exercise, I think I got more uh, into the middle and less into the extreme of 100% acceptance. I still accept his reaction because I understand we are also reactionary beings, and I accept what he did, but I also recognized so much of the other side of the argument that that wasn't really productive towards his intentions.
Yeah, for me it was similar. Like Juan, like at the beginning, I was like, yeah, maybe violence, like it's it's okay, but sometimes it's like leading to a worse scenarios. Like it doesn't make sense. So like it's okay. Like I just understand. Like it's okay to show like you disagree, but there's actually better ways and react to stuff. Actually, it's what Jeremy says. Like you're weak. Like you're not strong.
What I noticed had a lot of heat on it, so which is also a good proxy for what stings, is that line of accusation around spinelessness, right? And not having any nerve or not having any like guts or power or agency, right? That whole line around like the weakness of passivity, I noticed was like had a lot of venom to it in me. So that's an interesting edge of like recognition of like, oh shit, there's something in um, that I don't want to be associated with, that I'm afraid of. And on the flip side as well, there was a lot of heat and venom on that towards that end around like the pride and shame and like to be so impulsive. Anybody else?
I feel like I when we were doing the throwing arrows at the passive one, I kind of like there was an uneasiness with like kind of like I know all of you, but like hearing all of you say like you know like justifying this violence, and it just like had made me kind of uncomfortable. Like I was like, I don't like it just seemed out of place. But then there's also like a element of like because I felt strongly that I would be like not accepting of that like what you all were saying was like convicting me in a way because I knew that's like what my reaction would be, and then like I kind of think about that, and yeah, like I don't want to like personally be perceived as a pushover, so it's like this weird mix of like, guys, this isn't right, and like, oh man, maybe I'm like too passive sometimes, or like, but like recognizing as I'm thinking that too. So it was interesting.
And something else that stung for me was that line around like um, the arrows related to like impulse control, right? And the like the fallibility of my ego, right? That, oh, I can't, you can't control yourself. You have no mastery over yourself. I noticed was like, ow, damn, that one stings.
I also identified in myself that even though that I try to talk about all these like conflict management, there's some like violence in me. I don't know. Like it made me think also that when I not now that I have been growing up, but when I was younger, I like to have like a lot of fights, And how do we normalize that? I don't know. Like for me, um, I think I normalized it.
Yeah, I want to add to that. Yeah, when I was in my teenager years, we used to play these very violent games in Scouts, huh? And we enjoyed it all. I don't know why, but we enjoyed it. It's in a very safe setting. So I don't know if it's this animal that we look upon that's something that triggered me. Like, where did the shift happen to sort of create a ranking in, being nonviolent and violent? We sort of rank it. I would never hit somebody, I think, in a situation that Will Smith, like for a joke. But when I'm driving with my kids on the street and there is some car that pisses me off, I'm not sure if something happens if I would not hit that person. Huh? Then there's an anger coming up in me that is very hard to control, putting my kids into danger. So yeah, there is this violence, huh, that you sort of, I don't know. When I yell to those cars sometimes, it's yeah, it's not maybe not acceptable. Yeah.
I have a flashback that when I was in school, there were these guys that liked to throw like chewed paper into people, and it like got like stuck into your clothes. And I remember that once I told one of those guys, "Hey, if you throw me another of those like speed balls, I am going to hit you." And like 5 minutes later, he threw me a speedball, and I punched him, and we started fighting. And how and how like when you threaten someone, you are also like inviting them to do it. Because if I would have, I don't know, stood up and go to another place far from him, he wouldn't have been able to speed on me. But I was like, I am gonna keep here, and if you do that, then you are invited to fight. And he was like, okay, I like challenge accepted.
Yeah, but then at the same time, if you're moving away, it's like telling him, okay, you are the boss, and you decide where I'm going to sit all the classes. And I think he can even move to where you are and keep annoying you. Like I feel like maybe violence is not the solution, but like sometimes just telling him like I don't like you keep doing it on me. Like why are you doing that? Like questioning him, and of course like like sometimes these people is like keep being annoying, especially when they're kids. So yeah, but I think like also like being so passive is not the solution. Like it's just some middle ground. Like you need to tell him like you are like at the same value as him. So if he keeps doing it, like you might have problems, and that's okay. Like he cannot invade your space, like because otherwise he like you wouldn't be a free man. Like he's imposing what you have to do, and that's not accepted in my opinion.
Think that sort of underscores that there is an incredibly large creative space that is and the alternative the there are just numerous alternatives in this example, right? There's so many ways in which you can set the boundary and lets people know that there is an edge and a boundary of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable that doesn't include like resorting to explicit violence. I totally get to that, setting a boundary and saying, hey, this is over the line and that shit's not cool and there will be consequences to that. But like there's like you know, Will Smith is, in this example, like I thought he was an intelligent dude that had faculty over that creative space to find other solutions. Like ridicule is another perfect solution, right? The the social net, the social system, and working with inside the boundary of polite and acceptable society, right? There's lots of creative ways to set that edge and to enforce it, most importantly, that 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 aren't kinetic warfare, so to speak.
Yeah, and adding to that, there's a lot to discover in passive aggressive too, being passive aggressive. In society, if you look at Extinction Rebellion, for example, they are passive aggressive, right? They block a road in a very passive way, but it's quite aggressive and quite violent in some ways as well. That's also setting a boundary in in an unusual way. Yeah.
So to perhaps take this last moment to just zoom out in a meta perspective on this exercise that is throwing arrows, right? To go back across the tail of the tape, we took what is a highly charged subject matter in which there are strong opinions and good reasons to have both perspectives, and we systematically invited everyone to explore all the advantages and disadvantages of one perspective, and then shift gears and look at it from the other way and look at all the relative advantages and disadvantages of the other perspective. This exercise helps us create this rule fluidity to really get all of the information from all different perspectives out there on the table so that we can have, even in this charged topic, we can have a really rich discussion about, this is what the whole opportunity and possibility space looks like. And this might be how we could integrate and use that information going forward. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks for your time, attention, and energy. Lean, how do you want to close?
Yeah, no, just adding to that, like those two sides are both of them in you in one or another way, right? So for you, you already have that. And that is in multiple ways in the group, right? Now, the interesting thing about role theory is that when you usually project it on another person. We say Will Smith is the violent one, but we project all our violence on that person. Now, if Will Smith leaves the room, somebody else takes that role because it's in the group and it will come out. So if you look from that perspective to groups, you know that everything is in you and is in the group, and it will come out in some way. All the roles will come out in all contexts, and it's a brilliant. If you realize that, you start seeing it everywhere, all the polarities, and you approach groups with a more soft way. You can observe it and work with it instead of seeing it as a problem. And then conflict and polarities become really a mining tool for potential for your group, because you can work with it and you can see where the group is at that moment instead of seeing it as a problem and using it, for example, with a tool like throwing arrows and really going deep.
One of
All
my
right.
mentors, Ivan Agazarian, used to say that we're all just marionettes dancing to the strings of the group energy, right? And so I like your input on that, Lean, as it sort of is this expression of the collective unconscious, that there is violence in the world that is very tangible, even in the most civilized of places. Thanks, guys.
See you all. Thanks for joining, experimenting.
Thanks, Jeremy and Lynn. See you in the next
Thanks, guys.
one.
A great
See you
session.
all.